Greetings, students, and welcome again to this episode of The Professor Travel. I am your host, The Professor Travel, coming to you from Orange County, California. Quarantined this week because of the coronavirus situation, but we continue to move forward. Just a few things about The Professor Travel. This is the site, the blog, the podcast that you go to in order to learn more about different travel destinations, to discuss them as a community. We hope that that inspires you to travel more and hopefully enjoy life more. Now, again, you can reach me on a variety of different social media, including my website at theprofessortravel.com. You can also find me on YouTube and Facebook at The Professor Travel. I'm now available on TikTok for all you new kids out there that are using that at The Professor Travel. If you're on Instagram, you can find me there at _professor_travel. I am available on Twitter at theprofessortr1. And then, of course, if you are a blogger, you can find me on theprofessortravel.blogspot.com. So students, this week I have a wonderful visiting professor, Professor Graciany Miranda Ramirez de Arellano. Did I get that correct?
Yeah.
Oh my God. I practiced.
With the accent, but yeah.
Thank you so much, Graciany, for being on this podcast and vlog. I really appreciate it.
Happy to be here.
Oh, thank you. So for the benefit of my students, can you tell us a little bit about your educational background and maybe a couple of places that you've traveled to?
I have a BFA from the U and a JD from New York Law School. I've been to Europe a lot, Spain, France, Italy, before the virus. And in 2018, my second most recent big trip, which is where I met you.
Yep.
We went to on a cruise around the Baltic Sea where we saw St. Petersburg, Oslo, Helsinki, Germany, and where else?
Stockholm, Sweden.
Stockholm, oh my God, which I loved, yeah. And Tallinn. We went to Tallinn.
That's right.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, it sounds like you've definitely been a lot of places. I really enjoyed the cruise that we went on, and we've been in contact ever since.
Me too. Yeah, so we have.
We have to definitely continue to do that. So, but for purposes of this vlog podcast, you recently went on a trip to a couple of places. You went to Argentina, you went to Brazil, and you went to Uruguay. Is that correct?
That is correct. Also with my mom.
Awesome.
Pictured.
Hi out there, Gigi. If she sees this, that's awesome. So for the benefit of my students, what made you guys want to decide to go on this trip, which, by the way, included a cruise as well?
Yeah. It was also on a cruise. I like a cruise because it's a convenient way to see a little bit of everything, to see the world, which is kind of my goal now that I'm still relatively young and, I want to travel. I've also never been south of the equator, not the country, but, the imaginary line. So that's something that I wanted to fix. I had also been reading a lot by this author whom I totally recommend. His name is Eduardo Galeano. Here, I actually have 2 books of his on my nightstand. They're both in Spanish, but they're also both available in English. But anyway, that's his name, Eduardo Galeano. It's backwards. Okay. Anyway, so he wrote his masterpiece. It's called The Open Veins of Latin America, and I had finally read it, even though it was written in the 70s, and I wanted to maybe see a lot of what he was talking about, because to me, even though I am Hispanic, I had never been to South America. Yes, to the Caribbean and Mexico, but not the continent, proper. Sure. So, and I wanted to see, I want to see the world. I
agree.
So,
and you know what? I'm kind of in the same vein as you are. I think now I got 23 countries under my belt. Unfortunately, one of my trips got canceled recently because of the outbreak of coronavirus, but I'm looking to reschedule that for later on this year. And hopefully add a few more. So I get that passion for wanting to go to a bunch of different countries and really just check out the culture, the food, the history. And in fact, the picture that you have on this shot right here is of Christ the Redeemer in Rio de Janeiro.
Rio, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and that's your beautiful mother, Gigi. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's with Mom. We saw the Christ on a relatively clear day. It's high up on a hill. You have to take a tram to get up there. Quite an experience. I heard some people got dizzy because it was so high.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. I didn't see that or experience it. But the statue in real life is very impressive.
I think it's probably supposed to be about the size of the Statue of Liberty or something equivalent to that.
Maybe, sure. I've never been to the Statue of Liberty.
Which we had a conversation about.
I know.
The guy lives in New York, for crying out loud, so come on.
Man. I'm sure that if I lived in Rio, I would probably not see Christ the Redeemer, Well,
you see it every day right out there. So,
right,
yeah. You know what?
Yeah.
I get it.
Right.
So let me ask you this. Knowing that you're going to be going to these countries, were there any visas that were required for this, or could you just use your U.S. passport?
None. Yeah, no, just passport. Before boarding the cruise crew takes everyone's passports, and to kind of go through the customs check-in for everyone at a time as we arrive at a new country. And then at the end of the trip, like 2 days before the cruise ends, we pick up our passports at designated places on the ship, just depending on like stateroom floors or what, floors 1 and 2, pick it up here, 3 and 4, pick it up there,
Did that concern you guys at all, that they were actually taking your passport for a longer period?
Yeah, but at the same time, I'm like, fuck it, we're here.
Yep, I get
it. What are we gonna do? Say no?
Yeah, no, I get it.
So.
Were there, by the way, in traveling to this location, were there any type of special travel medications or anything that you needed to prepare for ahead of time?
You mean for myself?
Yeah, no, did you need to get inoculations or anything?
No.
Okay,
no.
I wasn't sure. It was just, I know you're going further south, and some of those places do have tropical environments, so I wasn't sure if you had to get something required. I didn't know. So, all right, well, let's talk about the pre-packing process. Knowing that it's summertime and that you're going down to South America, what were some things that you decided to pack on this trip?
So definitely a bathing suit, because I knew that Brazil, Rio, that whole thing, we had to go to Copacabana, and I was like, I am gonna get in the water of the most famous beach in the world. I don't care if it's cold, raining, just to say that I did it, right?
Right.
And also the cruise had three pools, and hot tubs and whatever. So those were, nice on the days at sea. I also, we knew that this was in February, which is the summertime down there, the end of it. So I also knew I was going to dress very, very much for warm weather. I still brought like 2 jeans just in case, we go somewhere nice or whatever, like semi-nice to eat. The cruise though had what do you call it, like
a formal night type thing, or
but even on the nights that were not formal, dress code. That's the they had a dress code. Men had to wear you can't wear a tank top, and you have to wear long pants.
And for those who know Graciany, he pretty much lives in tank tops
because it's and sure, it's I could work out or sleep in the same outfit.
I just want to say, even going to the Baltics, which is like Russia, he was in like tank tops and shorts for the most part.
Okay, for that one, I took for granted how far north we were going. I was cold, and the one pair of jeans that I brought, I used 7
couple times,
times,
couple times, yeah. Like it would be
yeah,
cold in the evenings there. So
yeah.
like good for you. Okay. Oh, by the way, did you have to pack any sun protection or any mosquito repellent at all?
Okay, so I always pack an SPF if I know I'm gonna be out in the sun, like in a pool or like whatever. So yeah, mosquito repellent. We had we ended up buying some. I forget where it was. I think it was in Brazil. The cruise ship, which was Celebrity Eclipse. Supposedly it's going to be renovated or whatever. Fine. It should. Like, I mean, a lot of it was nice, don't get me wrong, but where I felt they cut corners a lot was in maintenance and cleanliness. The smoking section, I smoke, by the way.
Yeah.
The smoking section, for example, was just infested with mosquitoes.
Oh my gosh.
And a lot of people complained, and the cruise came back with, oh, well, we are near the Amazon. So, of course, there's going to be bugs and whatnot. But I called BS on that because we would go on land and we wouldn't be, followed by bugs everywhere you went. So it was really just on the boat.
We're gonna get into talking about the cruise in just a second because it sounds like you have a lot to say on that.
No, I mean, that was it. That was my big main complaint, because I would spend a lot of time in the smoking section, a lot, just, having a drink, having a cigarette, talking to whomever.
Totally.
But I'm getting eaten alive here, so yeah, it just sucked. But other than that.
So for future reference, would you have brought it ahead of time, do you think?
I think I would have just brought like long pants, like long sweatpants or something, a hoodie, for summer weather. But hey, I'd rather be sweating bullets than getting bitten alive. But whatever. Sense. Anyway.
No, totally makes sense. Okay, so you live in New York City. You got to try and get to your port destination, which is in Buenos Aires, Argentina.
Yeah.
Correct? So how do you get to JFK, which is where I'm assuming you left out of?
Yeah. So usually I'll take the subway. Mm-hmm. It takes a little bit longer, but it's just like a personal thing. I get very bad motion sickness.
Okay.
So I will rather just take the train so that I don't have to get in a taxi.
All right.
Because like once you hit traffic, leaving the city, Manhattan, mm-hmm. is a hassle of like, the guy's just hitting the brakes and like sudden turns to the, it's just awful. But anyway, yeah, we left out of JFK to go to direct flight to Argentina.
Did your mom fly from JFK also, or did she fly from?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. She came from Puerto Rico to New York. She spent a few days here.
Okay.
I was still working anyway. So yeah.
Okay. No problem. Well, I mean, I would still think even that way it's going to cost less because you're using the subway than it would be to park a vehicle or something, or get an Uber or even something like that.
If you take the subway and then you have to pay a fee to take the AirTran from the subway to like the terminals at the airport, that is like, so that whole trip with public transportation is about $10. Yeah, which is still a lot, but
wait, hold on. No, not compare. Like, okay, so I was going to park my car at LAX for this recent trip I was talking to you about that got canceled, and that was going to cost me almost $200. So
okay, but that's parking a car.
That's true.
This is just a person moving from point A to point B. I'm just moving the cheap way. But if you were to take an Uber, a cab, whatever, it's easy north of $50.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
Easy.
So let's talk about the flights really quick. So what airline did you decide to go on?
So I thought we were booking Delta,
Mhm.
but we got Aerolíneas Argentinas, which is, I guess, Argentina's airline.
Okay.
Um, Two different planes on our way there and then on our way back. The one on our way back was better. Both times we flew business, but the seats and the whole setup of gadgets was different. Um, like on our way back, that one, had like blue light and it was really nice.
Nice.
Yeah. Um, the only reason I fly business for long trips is so that I can lie down.
Mhm.
I'm not interested, unless I'm awake and hungry in eating. Sure, I'll have a drink at the beginning, okay, but otherwise, just don't bother me. I would rather just sleep this off, especially since I can't smoke. I'm in a glorified hallway, a tunnel. I can't leave.
Mhm.
So if I can just get through this with the least amount of consciousness as possible, that would be great
And
for
you're
everyone.
exactly. No, but I mean, how? Like, I assume you ate while you were on the flight. It was an 11-hour trip, right?
So on our way back, no, we ate at the airport
Okay.
at the lounge, because if you get business, you kind of get access to like some lounge or whatever.
Okay.
So that's where we ate, such that as soon as we boarded, which was at 11 something, 11:15, massive delays, but whatever.
Oh.
By the time we got on the airplane, we just like passed out, and sleep. Like,
No, that's actually good in that particular case because that way it was like much easier to sleep throughout the entire flight.
Oh yeah, and it was very easy to sleep.
Okay.
Yeah, that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you arrive in Buenos Aires. Where is your hotel? How far are you from the docks? How far are you from the airport?
So from the airport to the hotel, maybe about half an hour.
Okay, that's not that bad.
The hotel was in an area that I guess would be like the equivalent of Fifth Avenue in New York, like Midtown Fifth Avenue. Where like the boutiques are and whatnot. It's all like nice. It's a touristy bougie.
Kind of plays. Oh, I think I may have lost you. Can you hear me okay? So sorry
So
about that. We
yeah,
had some technical difficulties there. But
it
you
was
were
my
saying,
fault.
no, that's okay. But you were saying that the accommodations were in a kind of nicer district of Buenos Aires, correct?
Yeah, very well located. A lot of the architecture made Buenos Aires seem a lot like like a mini Paris.
Oh, nice.
It reminded me so much of Paris.
Awesome.
And just in the architecture and the in like smaller roads, not like the big avenues, but yeah, just very very beautiful.
How
Um,
how long were you guys in Buenos Aires for?
we were there for, I think it was 3 days
Okay.
before the cruise left. Yeah,
And how was the food there?
great. I mean, okay, so I'm vegan-ish. Although, as of late, I've been pescatarian.
Okay.
Because and especially on this trip, the concept of veganism is not a thing. Uh, Vegetarian maybe, but then they'll just dump dairy into it, and no, that's not gonna fly. So I'll just have the salmon, the fish, whatever, just
Okay.
whatever. So
That's fine.
what I ate was fine. Nothing that I can recall now that stood out on this trip except one meal that was exquisite. But anyway, um, I mean, we didn't go there to eat, but if something uh typical of wherever we were came around, then sure, we'll partake. But we were mostly just very aggressive with sightseeing. um taking tours to learn, what's this plaza, what's that statue, what does it mean, that heavily touristy stuff. We
Nice.
saw a flamenco show. It was great. We saw two, one in Argentina and the other one in Montevideo in Uruguay. Both
Okay.
great.
Fantastic.
One was improvised, it turned out. The other one was not. And from watching them, I would not have been able to tell. So
that's very impressive.
Fun fact that I learned on this trip. So apparently back in the day when tango was originating, it was a dance form of the poor. It wasn't like fancy. It was frowned upon by the upper crust of Argentinian society, and it wasn't until tango found its way to Europe, and such that Europeans were like, oh, wow, oh, this is so exquisite and new and fabulous, that then Argentina openly, everyone was so proud of their, legacy on the dance floor. So tango originated, on the streets, by the poor, by the immigrants. Interesting, right? Yeah.
I mean, you wouldn't think that's the case, but I mean, it strikes me as ironic that sometimes when something's shunned like that, and all of a sudden everybody around the world like goes, "Oh, we love this," or like, "Yeah, it originated here. Come on, back. It's fantastic." So, no problem. So, all right, and so let's move on then to the beginning of the cruise. So you're approaching your cruise ship. This is which cruise ship? This is the Celebrity. Which one?
Eclipse.
What were your initial thoughts as you were approaching the ship, and how was the embarkation process for you guys?
Embarkation was, as you can imagine, kind of long and tedious. Do this line, get on the other line, then the other line. All right, you just after a point, just like zone out and just go wherever they tell you to go. You're kind of like on autopilot. Here's my ticket. Here's my thing. Put everything down the conveyor belt, like wherever they see inside your luggage, just run with it. Okay. So that's always annoying. That's frankly what I hate about traveling. It's the getting there. It's that transitional phase that takes hours of like the second you get to the airport. It's like, this is gonna be awful. Just going through security alone. That alone is a test of patience.
But one of the things I like about cruising as opposed to normal, or what I was, not normal, but like land-based vacations, is what you just said is, once you get onto that cruise ship, you're going to be there.
It's done.
It's done.
Yeah.
There for 14 days. You don't have to go through any more customs or craziness or, stuff like that. Well, I mean, unless you get
until you get back, okay.
Yeah, but I mean, like a couple of years ago, like the year before I met you, I went on a trip that I flew from LAX to London, then from London to Amsterdam, from Amsterdam to Rome and Vatican City, and then to Barcelona, and then back to London. And we were like, we're not going to do this like that again. And like, because it's just like half.
Because it's a lot. It's a lot. Well, and if one thing gets
security.
Yeah, and if one thing gets delayed, everything else just kind of falls off the wayside. So,
I get it. It sucks like that. Yeah. Okay. What kind of a cabin did you guys have?
So it wasn't a suite, but it wasn't. Balcony? Okay, it did have a balcony, but I don't know if I don't think it was a suite. Like it wasn't this sprawling, massive, room. But it did have kind of like the couch area and
that could have
bed
been
and a balcony, maybe, yeah. And it was a queen size bed. We got a room for handicapped people.
Okay.
So a lot of the things were kind of just like spacious.
Mm-hmm.
The bottom of the bed was not like that perfect square,
Mm-hmm.
but the corners were kind of circular.
Okay.
You know, so for a wheelchair to go around, I would
Okay.
assume.
Nice.
So that was like interesting. The bathroom, the shower had plumbing issues day one, so that had to get fixed. You know, little things that you're just like, man, come on. And we waited how long because the rooms weren't ready? Well, you
Oh,
know,
that's not. See, now that is
like,
good.
you know, nobody thought about run. All right, okay, well, I did, and it's busted. Fix it.
Well, and it's those little things that can sometimes add up. I mean, and we're going to be honest
Yes.
on this podcast. If you had some challenges, like I can remember when we went on the cruise to the Baltics, you and I loved that cruise. I thought it was
Yeah, it was great. Yeah.
there was almost no problems. I think in the entire, I think what was it, 10 days, 12 days, something like that.
11.
Yeah, it was 11 days that we were on that cruise, and in all that time, I want to say there was like one thing and only one thing that was an issue, and that was it. And it was, I think there was a problem with the water to the bathroom at one point, and it was just for like a half an hour. And the stewards came to your room and said, "Hey, I just want to let you know this is happening right now. We're doing a pressure system check. You know, sorry for the interruption. We'll let you know as quickly as it's done." And that was it.
Yeah, and like those things, those isolated events, I don't mind. Shit happens.
Yeah.
But it's the accumulation of them that leads me to believe, okay, we just have a maintenance issue in general, or a cleaning issue in general.
Well, how is the food on the ship?
It was good. It was good. The buffet, which is what I ate from where I ate the most. Because, you know, I'd rather eat, you know, when I'm hungry as opposed to like, nope, dinner's at 6 every night. You have to shower at this hour. No. I'll eat when I want, and, you know, that food was good. I ate a lot of fish.
Do they have vegan options for you on the buffet there?
Yeah, but I mean, every so often maybe.
Okay.
And, if I would have gone like strictly vegan for that trip, I would have starved a few times. And, you know, at the buffet, it's just like, what, the salad bar? No.
I'm gonna have to talk to you about a group cruise type thing in the future, because I know there are a couple of group cruises where the theme is based on veganism and the entire ship goes vegan for that. So we'll talk about that offline.
I mean, I would love to, but I wouldn't take a trip. Like, I mean, it will have to go somewhere interesting, the cruise, you know?
Yeah.
But I'm not going to get on a boat just to eat, you know? Because I will do that regardless, you know, of where we go.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
And did you happen to see any of the entertainment on the ship while you were going on the cruise?
No, I know.
I mean, that's fine. You're entertaining on your own.
At one point, the dancers did a choreographed number for us on the pool deck on a day that we were at sea. Oh. That was cool. You know, very, very talented team of dancers that they had. You know, yeah, cool. But yeah, the 8 o'clock show that I never saw anything there.
That's okay.
Yeah.
So this is the part of the vlog and podcast where I let you take over a little bit. Talk to us about, I mean, because you went to 3 different countries. Can you maybe talk about one thing that you did at each of the countries that really stood out to you?
Sure. So Argentina. Okay, so I talked a lot about Argentina. So 2 things I want to say about Buenos Aires.
Okay.
One of them is the cemetery. Recoleto, it's called, I believe.
Regoleto.
Yeah, Recoleto. I believe that's the name. It's uh, not so much a cemetery as a mausoleum.
Mm.
I mean, it's like there are no graves. It's all mausoleums, you know, instead
Like
of a
crypts, yeah.
graveyard. Like it's mini monuments for the dead. It's little chapels and statues of angels and virgins and, you know, whatever. Just all this, you know, things, taller than me, and I'm 6'2".
Yeah.
Just all over the place. It's like a labyrinth of just statues everywhere, commemorating the dead.
Anybody
One of
famous?
them,
Yeah.
yes, Eva.
Eva Peron.
Yeah, she's buried question mark there. I mean, and I say question mark because I don't know how far to the ground these things go. You know, the body could literally be like street level. I don't know. And that was the only one that we saw that still had fresh flowers there. So people still go and you know, leave flowers and notes and like all kinds of things.
I want to make a side note on this topic really quick, because when I was in Paris, I did a very similar thing where I went to a cemetery that was recommended to me, and I was like, well, why would I want to go to a cemetery? And the way they described it is, think of it more as an outside museum, and it's the same type of mentality. And when you go through there, you're getting a chance to see all these lovely like these crypts that are all done up in Gothic styles, sculptures, and sometimes you get to see some of those famous people. Like with the one I went into France and in Paris with, I got to see Jim Morrison, Oscar Wilde.
Oh my God!
So, I mean, it was definitely worth the trip, and it was like I would have never thought about it. And the size of that place was massive;
huge,
it was bigger than any museum. So, I mean, definitely worth the trip. So don't cross it off your list of things to see, students, because it's a cemetery. You may get a lot of really interesting opportunities to see some really amazing images there. So
definitely something to see. I mean, and definitely the place to get buried. I mean, I know where I wanted to get buried. Like, and I want the tallest motherfucker. No.
All right. And so then you guys are heading next out of Argentina to Brazil?
So, yes. Then we went to Brazil. Okay, here's where my memory gets a little bit foggy. We went to Santos, which is 2+ hours from Sao Paulo.
Okay.
There, we had the option of taking the day trip to Sao Paulo or taking a tour of Santos. We opted to take the tour of Santos because, as curious I am about Sao Paulo, it is 2.5 hours away on a bus. And just to see a highly congested city, I mean, I live in New York, so I mean, I'm good.
Well, when we were in St. Petersburg, no, I don't know if it was you. I think, did you guys stay in St. Petersburg or did you go to Moscow?
No.
No, you were with us in St. Petersburg.
Yeah. We did both days in St. Petersburg. When we went to Germany, we had the option of going to Berlin, and that was 3 hours, painful. And that was by train, you know, so there's no stopping. Oh wait, there's traffic, it's gonna take longer. No, it was 3 hours proper, period. But here, you know, with my motion sickness, I'm like, I'm not gonna do 2 hours in a bus to see anything. But we went to Santos instead, and it was a very beautiful, charming town, very colorful. we had a great tour guide. He had a very thick accent, so a lot of people could not understand him. I struggled at times, but very charming, very nice guy. And, you know, it's great to have a tour guide who clearly loves what he does or pretends to very well. You know, we saw the Church of La Virgen de la Monserrate. So up in some, like, we also have to take a tram, but the tram is almost like a century old, I want to say. It's been maintained throughout the years, of course, because obviously, you know, like,
yeah, exactly.
Like, I mean, otherwise it's just a death trap. Like you see that thing and you're like, oh my God, this is gonna break, but it didn't. So we went all the way up the hill on this tram, where the last functioning casino in Brazil was.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, because then it became outlawed.
Interesting.
And you see the pictures, and that day was a very hot day, and you know, we're all like sweating bullets, but in the pictures you see everyone dressed for winter. Like the women are in minks. There were men with scarves, you know, like with the whole three-piece suit thing, plus a scarf, and you're like, oh my God, you know, it just gets hotter.
It's the time of year, though.
Yeah, and then everyone's smoking in these pictures, the good old days. So, and then after Santos, we stopped at an island called Ilhabela. We did not get off that day. It was raining heavily, and from what we heard, people who went on a tour had to turn around and just cancel it because a certain street that the bus had to drive through became flooded. There was just no way to do the tour, and this was apparently like at the beginning of the tour. So I guess that was a good call on our part. So I didn't see Ilhabela, which is a small island off the mainland Brazil. After that, we went to this small town called Búzios. Loved it. Buzios. And from what I understand, it became famous because that's where Brigitte Bardot, back in the day, would go on vacation.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So, and I think there's somewhere like a statue of hers, like along the coast or something. I don't know. I didn't see it, but I've seen pictures of it. But I didn't see it. And there's a lot of water taxis there that will take you to other beaches. Right on the port, there's this long cobblestone and just rock road it's so exquisite, charming. It's all shopping and like little cafes and restaurants and what it's people called it the Saint-Tropez of Brazil. And yeah, and I can totally see that, although I've never been to Saint-Tropez. But you know, from but from what I understand, that's very much and yeah, it's just so cute. And you know, you could really just spend more time there. You know, that was definitely a place to just kick back and relax, you know.
Sounds good.
We took a water taxi to one of the beaches there, and there you know, they know that a bunch of tourists are coming, so they provide you with restaurant service from the restaurants that are like right there on the coast, but like on the sand. So they'll bring out the beach chairs, a table, whatever, just like boom, just improvise it, an umbrella, whatever, and they bring you food. We got so much food. We got I don't know how to say it in English, but like lobster, some other shrimp, like big shrimp, jumbo shrimp grilled thing,
Like
and another
platter of some sort.
3 different platters we got, and then the other one was like a like chilled octopus, kind of like a ceviche, but a lot of octopus.
Yeah,
This was among the best meals I've had in my life, and we ate that, on a beach, whatever, just be like, well, I don't know. And it's like packed and like a bunch of people, and then this guy just comes in this very thick accent talking Spanish but with a Brazilian accent, so there was like a few things that I was like, wait, what? And he's just like offering us service and food, and we're like, okay, sure, fuck it, we have like 4 hours or 5 before the cruise leaves, we have time, and that meal was exquisite.
Nice.
So yeah, so that was Bucios. Then finally we got to Rio. Rio, I loved the city. And we were there. Yeah. Okay, so we were there for 3 days.
Okay.
The cruise obviously intentionally arranged it so that we would be there for Carnival.
Okay. Now, for those of my students who are not familiar with it, what exactly is Carnival?
So it comes from a Catholic thing. So there's Ash Wednesday. As of Ash Wednesday, and forgive me, I'm an atheist these days, but I was raised Catholic.
Okay.
So as of Ash Wednesday, for 40 days, it's what's called Lent.
Okay.
So you're supposed to give something up, meat, sugar, whatever, something that costs you something, in order to, as a gesture of observance for the 40 days that Jesus spent on the desert walking. Okay. So for 40 days, you do that. And then it ends in like Easter, he came back, whatever. Okay. So back in the day, the thing that people would give up was meat, because, meat, especially in Western culture, has always been like a delicacy. You have a steak, let's go out for a steak. It's celebratory, it's big, it's gluttonous, it's meaty, whereas eating agricultural products like corn, wheat, whatever, grains, that's always been for the poor people, right? So the thing that people would give up is meat. So that is why the Tuesday before Ash Wednesday is called Mardi Gras, Fat Tuesday, because meat contains a lot of fat. So before going into Lent, people would just stuff their face with like cow and pork and everything, because we're not going to have this for 40 days. So before Ash Wednesday, this evolved into this like massive party, let's just, be degenerates, because for the next 40 days, we're, no sex, no eating, no drinking, no smoking. Okay. So we're going to do everything the day before. So that's where Mardi Gras became called Mardi Gras, Fat Tuesday. And then, if you just keep starting the party earlier, then we have 3 days of, massive party. And Carnival is very much falls, just aligns with this thing.
Okay.
So like the 3 days before Ash Wednesday, a big party.
Oh.
And the carnival itself takes place in, I don't know how I would call it, Sampodromo. That's the name of the venue. It's not a stage. Okay, so think of a football field, but not as long and not as wide. Enough for it's like about an avenue wide, like
Like a parade.
yeah.
Okay.
So the parade is not like just on the street, where where like a passerby can just walk up to it and just observe it from the sidewalk. No, you have to buy tickets to see this.
Okay.
Highly recommend. This is one thing you want to buy when you get there in Rio, not through the cruise ship. The advantage of doing it through the cruise is that someone is always there to hold your hand throughout this whole experience, but only to realize that you maybe don't need that much hand holding after all. And if you do it through the cruise, it's ridiculously expensive, which we paid for, because we didn't know, right? And we're like, all right, let's just, and also I'm with mom. She's 62. She doesn't want to just like, let's just go where the party takes us. No, she's more conservative in her planning and what danger she'll expose herself to and whatnot. So, sure, whatever.
Well, and
it's fine. It's fine.
I'm sure you misspoke, by the way, and in saying that she was more than 39, because I think she's around that age.
Did I say 39?
I think
oh, okay.
So I was like, I just want to make sure we're on the same
right. My bad.
Gigi, if you're listening, I love you, girl.
I'm dyslexic. Right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. That's what's going on.
Okay. All right. Cool. So so how long did Carnival last for while you were there? Is it the full 3 days?
3 days. Well, 3 nights to be accurate. It starts at around 9-ish every night.
Okay.
And it ends at around 6 a.m. the following.
Oh, morning. Wow. That's
yeah.
Really
so
impressive.
So we only saw one night. So the way the parade, the carnival works, I mean, it is definitely something to see, and I'm glad I saw it, though I don't think I would do it again. It's just like way too many people, and just getting out of the venue is like impossible. Which is also like why I hate concerts. Like just it's like it's like when you're sitting on the back row of an airplane, by the time you get to leave, just going through people, just so that part of it I really dislike. But most people like concerts, so that's okay. But it's definitely something worth seeing. The parade itself, it's 6 schools, that's what they're called, 6 different parades. Each one is an hour and 20 minutes. We only saw the first 2. I mean, because I'm just like, okay, it was like over past 1 a.m. and we were really tired. I was really tired, and my ass was hurting a lot from sitting on those. No, yeah, it's it's uncomfortable, but still an experience. I don't regret it.
At least
next time.
Yeah.
What?
At least see it once.
Oh yeah, totally. Yes. It's like, I suppose, the Great Wall of China, which I haven't seen, or the Grand Canyon, which I haven't seen either. It's something I would just do once. I do want to do it, but I don't think I'll be next year. We'll come to the Grand Canyon again. No, I mean, who knows? Maybe I love it.
I guess maybe.
Maybe I'll love it, or maybe I will and say okay, but I won't do this again.
How was the weather during those days?
It was fine, summer, not scorching heat, but summer.
Okay. And then when did you get down to the Copacabana Beach?
We did that, I think, on our day 2. Um, that's okay. That's another thing I would really want to do if I go back to Rio during Carnival. It's to stay at a hotel beachfront of Copacabana.
Okay.
That's what I would like to do. Uh, that's where like the street parties and the beach parties happen during Carnival, and that's what I would have really liked to have experienced. Again, I was with mother, nothing was going to happen anyway, but still, but at the same time, you can't get too wasted because you have your wallet on you, you're this, but if the hotel's there, all you need is your room key, which if you lose, just tell the front desk, when you get back, hey, I lost my key. It's somewhere in that street party. I don't know. So
Okay. And so one other thing I want to touch base with you on really quick, and we may mention it earlier in the video and podcast, is the Christ the Redeemer. Now, how were you able to get to that?
We saw it also through the cruise on a tour.
Mm-hmm.
You take a tram like the one in Santos, but way longer, all the way up this hill. And then once you get there, you can either walk, I think it was 240 something steps, or take an elevator. I took the steps, mom took the elevator.
Okay, nice.
And yeah, cause the line to the elevator was insane. And I was like, I'm sure I could take the steps without rushing and still get up there before mom. And I did. So, through the tram, you get a ticket, whatever, the whole thing, and then it takes you up there.
I was going to ask you, and this is something I should have asked you when we were talking about Carnival. Were you actually able to take pictures of Carnival, or was it something that they just screened?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Awesome. So I know we don't have a lot of time to go over a lot of things more, but I do want to go down to Uruguay really quick, because we haven't talked about that. Talk to me a little about at least one thing that you did down in Uruguay. I mean, obviously I know you saw the dancers that were down there, but what else did you guys do?
So we went to 2 places. One was Punta del Este, which is it's a very it's a town for the rich. It's like the Hamptons, I guess. It's the Hamptons. Oh my God, I can't even. It's the it's the Hamptons of Montevideo, which is like the capital.
Okay.
And apparently to Buenos Aires too. Apparently a lot of people from Buenos Aires go to Punta del Este to vacation. Once we got off the like on the port, you see like blah 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 yacht club. So you're like, okay, it's one of those.
That's cool.
Yeah. A lot of boutiques, nice things. We saw a Valentino, so it's very
nice.
But it's clearly a beach town. But with boutiques.
Okay.
And then Montevideo, the capital, great. It has, from what we saw, a lot of beautiful houses. Beautiful. I did not see the kind of opulence of Buenos Aires. Where you can be like, okay, clearly very, 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 very rich people live here. But I also did not see the, like the extreme poverty that you saw, for example, in parts of Rio, like the favelas, which are like
they're like stacked up apartments type thing.
Yeah. Except apartment implies a building.
Oh, like almost.
It's like it's kind of build as you go.
Yeah.
From afar, it's very picturesque, It's very colorful, literally, you know, a lot of colors. So, you know, there's a certain charm and beauty to it. But you know what it is. But you also did not, but so I did not see that at all in Uruguay, either extreme. It was all kind of just a very healthy middle class, from like lower middle to upper middle, but middle.
Okay.
You know, like a lot of beautiful houses, no sprawling mansions, right? But just really nice and very clean city, very pretty. Yeah, that's where he's from.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Very cool. Awesome. All right. Well, cool. So then you get back over to Buenos Aires, and it's time to disembark. How was the disembarkation process? Was it okay?
Annoying.
Annoying.
You know,
Same line.
same old. Yeah. Can we just get this over with?
And
Let's
how
stand
was
in line, the other line, you know.
how was your return flight? You said there was a little bit of a nicer plane that you guys got to go on the way back.
Yeah, so the plane was nice, but the airport, I think, is understaffed. So we got there extremely early because we had nowhere else to go. Our flight left at almost midnight, and we had to leave our rooms at 9 a.m.
Oh, God.
Yeah, so we spent hours on the airport, but we thought, oh, you know, it's fine. We'll just get into the lounge and just hang out there, nap there, and it'll be fine. No, you can't even, like, checking in is not possible until 4 hours before your flight.
Oh my gosh.
And we were there like 12 hours before or something. So it was just like, you know, this is like unheard of, you know, in other airports, I think, where, you know, you can afford to be ridiculously early. You can just hang out at the lounge, but you're going to have to wait, you know?
It's craziness.
So that was annoying. That was very annoying. But at the same time, it's just, you know, what are you going to do about it?
That's true.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so let's talk about some post-vacation thoughts then. So what are the pros of going to, like, the 3 countries that you went to? What would you say are probably the biggest things that you liked about it?
Okay, so my big takeaways. I or like things that left the most impact, made the most impact. Buenos Aires. I just thought it was a very beautiful city. And Rio. I do want to go back during Carnival, but do it differently. And I really liked Bucios. I loved it. I thought it was very pretty.
Awesome.
And the trip is convenient because these countries are, you know, at least the ports of call are relatively close to one another. So
Okay.
yeah.
Excellent. And what would be something that you'd want to make sure maybe a first-time traveler would want to be aware of?
So Rio, the beaches, especially Copacabana and Ipanema, which are the two most popular ones down there. That's my understanding. There's issues with theft, just like petty theft. You know, you can't. It's highly discouraged to, you know, if you go on a you know, to the beach, like a group of you guys, someone should stay behind while the others are in the water. Because if you don't, what will probably happen is that your stuff will get stolen. So that's not cool, you know, but that's the only thing. But even if you go there, you know, on your first time, I'm sure people at the hotel, at the cruise, people told us this a lot, you know, the cruise itself would warn us about theft. So that's the thing.
And then any value adds, cost savings, or best practices that you would want to share with my students?
If you're gonna see the carnival, buy it in Rio locally. Even if it's a tourist trap, it'll still be cheaper than in some chartered thing.
Oh, totally.
Yeah. So.
Well, I want to thank you very much, Graciany, for your
You're
time. Really
welcome.
fun. I enjoyed it. I hope we can do this again in the future.
Yeah, next
Yeah,
trip.
absolutely. Please keep me informed. Now, again, for my students that are out there, if you have any questions or if there are any comments, I'd love to hear from you. So please feel free to send me an email at scott@theprofessortravel.com. If you're viewing this on YouTube, please click the bell button at the top of the screen in order to be notified when new videos come out. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already done so, and give us a like if you like this video. If you're listening on a podcast, we really appreciate high ratings. So, of course, please feel free to rate it on iTunes or Spotify or Podomatic, whichever method you're listening on. But until the next time, make every day a travel adventure. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye now.